You think you know the Roman Empire? This ancient powerhouse was full of glory and innovation, but also dark secrets, heinous crimes, and jaw-dropping scandals they didn't want you to know. From blood-soaked betrayals to shocking conspiracies that mirror today's courtroom dramas, this is history reimagined. Stick around as we dive into... And trust me, these are the shocking truths your history textbooks conveniently left out. The Romans, masters of engineering, channeled fresh water into their cities through aqueducts, feeding their magnificent public baths and the homes of the elite. But this symbol of Roman ingenuity held a dark secret. Recent scientific analysis of Roman remains has revealed a chilling truth. The Roman elite, those who enjoyed the benefits of running water, were slowly poisoning themselves. The very pipes that carried water crafted from lead leached this toxic metal into their drinking supply. Could this be the insidious hand of lead poisoning, slowly eroding their minds, pushing them towards acts of unimaginable cruelty? The roar of the crowd, a deafening wave of sound washing over the Colosseum, a monument to Roman power and spectacle. Within its walls, gladiators fought, their lives spilling onto the sand as thousands watched, enthralled by the dance of life and death. But behind the spectacle, beyond the thrill of the fight, a darker truth lay hidden. The gladiatorial games were not simply a display of strength and skill, they were a carefully orchestrated performance, manipulated by a web of corruption. Corrupt officials saw in the games an opportunity to line their pockets. Fights were rigged, gladiators were mere pawns in their schemes. The Colosseum, a symbol of Roman might, was also a stage for a different kind of battle. A battle fought not with swords and shields, but with whispers and gold. The Ides of March, a date etched into the annals of history. A stark reminder that even the most powerful men are not immune to the sharp edge of betrayal. It was on this day that Julius Caesar, the man who had conquered nations, met his end within the hallowed halls of the Roman Senate. The story of Caesar's assassination is often told as a tale of sudden violence, but the truth is far more complex. The senators who orchestrated Caesar's downfall, led by Brutus and Cassius, did not act on a whim. They were driven by a belief that Caesar's ambition threatened the very foundations of the Roman Republic. For weeks they met in secret, plotting every detail of their audacious plan. "Et tu, brute," Caesar uttered, his voice a mixture of disbelief and betrayal. In the heart of the Roman Empire, where power was absolute and ambition knew no bounds, the whispers of conspiracy often revolved around a woman named Livia Drusilla. Wife of Emperor Augustus, Livia was a woman of immense influence, her cunning and ambition matched only by her ruthlessness. Rumors swirled through the halls of power, whispers of sudden illnesses, of suspicious deaths that seemed to plague those who dared to stand in Livia's way. It was said that Livia possessed a vast knowledge of herbs and toxins, a deadly arsenal hidden within the gardens of her lavish villa. The true extent of Livia's crimes may never be known, but the whispers persist, a chilling reminder that in ancient Rome, power was often maintained through the most insidious of means. Beneath the grandeur of Rome, hidden from the prying eyes of emperors and senators, thrived a darker side of the city, a world of shadows and secrets. It was here in the labyrinthine alleyways and dimly lit taverns that the Roman underworld flourished, a viper's nest of criminal enterprises known as... These were not mere gangs of thugs, but highly organized criminal syndicates, their tendrils reaching into every facet of Roman society. They were the puppet masters behind extortion rackets, their whispers striking fear into the hearts of wealthy merchants. They were the architects of elaborate bribery schemes, their coins buying the loyalty of corrupt officials. They thrived in the shadows, their power fueled by the chaos and corruption that often plagued Roman politics. The Roman army, a force that had carved an empire from the untamed wilds of Europe, a symbol of discipline, might, and unwavering loyalty. But the army was more than just a fighting force. It was also a tool of control, an instrument of fear wielded by the emperors to maintain their grip on power. Within the ranks, whispers of dissent were met with swift and brutal retribution. Soldiers who dared to question orders or challenge the authority of their superiors vanished without a trace. The Roman army, for all its glory and might, was also a tool of tyranny, its ranks stained with the blood of those who dared to challenge the absolute authority of the emperor. The Roman Empire, a civilization renowned for its legal system, its intricate laws, and its pursuit of justice. But behind the facade of order and reason, a darker truth lay hidden, a truth revealed in the bloodstains and wounds that marked the victims of violence. Roman investigators, faced with the gruesome task of solving murders, developed surprisingly sophisticated methods of forensic analysis. They understood the importance of examining a crime scene, of searching for clues that could lead them to the perpetrator. This meticulous attention to detail speaks to the Roman obsession with law and order. The Great Fire of Rome, a catastrophe that consumed the city in flames, leaving behind a trail of devastation and despair. For centuries, the fire was blamed on the Emperor Nero, his name forever linked to an act of unimaginable destruction. But what if the truth was far more sinister, a conspiracy that implicated the emperor himself in the burning of his own city? Rumors have persisted throughout history that Nero, obsessed with grandiose architectural visions, saw in the fire an opportunity to reshape Rome in his own image. The Great Fire of Rome remains one of history's most enduring mysteries, a testament to the destructive power of both fire and ambition. The Roman Empire, built on the backs of slaves, a society where millions were condemned to a life of toil and servitude. But even in the face of such overwhelming oppression, the human spirit yearned for freedom, for a chance to break the chains of bondage. Throughout Roman history, there were numerous slave rebellions, acts of defiance that shook the very foundations of the empire. These uprisings, often fueled by desperation and a thirst for vengeance, were brutally suppressed by the Roman authorities. But the seeds of rebellion, once sown, were difficult to eradicate. In the heart of ancient Rome, amidst the bustling crowds and the grandeur of the Forum, stood the Temple of Vesta, home to a sacred order of priestesses known as the Vestal Virgins. These women, chosen in their youth for their beauty and purity, were tasked with a sacred duty to tend to the eternal flame that burned within the temple, a symbol of Rome's prosperity and continuity. The Vestal Virgins held a unique and revered position in Roman society. They were granted privileges and honors denied to other women. Their pronouncements carried the weight of divine authority, but their exalted status came at a steep price. The Vestal Virgins were sworn to a life of celibacy, their chastity considered essential to the well-being of Rome. To break this sacred vow was an act of sacrilege, a crime punishable by death. History truly is stranger than fiction, and the Roman Empire was no exception. From conspiracies to crimes, these stories remind us how humanity has always been complex, and sometimes downright sinister. If you enjoyed uncovering these shocking crime stories from ancient Rome, hit that like button to help others discover this video. Want to learn more? Drop a comment on what civilization or unsolved crimes we should explore next. And remember, sometimes the truth is just as dramatic as the legends. Subscribe for more captivating, real crime stories, both ancient and modern.